was.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode. You don't know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Because then something bad, like coronavirus, might happen to you. Oh, and I'm talking to you. Well, here we are at an undisclosed location on the outskirts of Austin, Texas, the #1 city in the world. That's right. Dr. Patrick Flanagan died a few weeks ago. Dr. Flanagan was one of the smartest men in the world, and I've done a couple of shows about him, but I'm going to skip Dr. Flanagan's biography and everything about his work with DARPA and the Navy and stuff like that, and get right into tonight's topic as soon as I tell you about these badass gauntlets that I made. And I've been working on these things for about a couple of years now. Spent a lot of time and a lot of money perfecting, you know, the look and feel of how I wanted it to look like. And soon they will be available to you, John Q. Public, at a fair and reasonable price. It's always been my intention from the very beginning to monetize this YouTube channel. I hope that doesn't piss anybody off, but I think, and I've felt for years now, that people in the truther community have a right to make a living too, have a right to pay their rent and everything like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, huh? Now, so far, I can tally up the amount of money that I've made from doing these YouTube videos, and that's the number right there, a big fat zero. As a matter of fact, it's thousands of dollars in the opposite direction, but I love doing this, and I appreciate you, the audience, and so I hope I don't, you know, lose any audience members when I start maybe selling some prepper gear, right? This coronavirus deal is real, huh? Or some of my own things that I make myself, like these leather bracelets, gauntlets, and some stuff I make out of gems and crystals and stuff like that, like necklaces and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll see. So anyway, I played that little intro to Iron Maiden's song right there, just to test, to make sure that, you know, there's sound coming from this DVD player you see right here. Apparently there is. What tonight's show is going to be about is this little gem right here. This is the Neurophone, invented by Dr. Patrick Flanagan. It was classified top secret for about 3 decades, and they wouldn't let him sell it to the public. This is an advanced learning device. It helps to make you smarter, and it works with other advanced learning stuff. Today, or tonight rather, what you'll be watching me learn while I'm, I guess, in a trance or asleep or whatever, is Spanish. Drive time Spanish, okay? We're going to see how well this works. I got this at Barnes & Noble, excuse me, and it is apparently some CDs that you're supposed to listen to while you're driving to learn how to speak Spanish. I haven't even listened to any of it, so we'll put it in right now just to see, you know, what the deal is. So we'll take the old Iron Maiden CD out, hopefully, and put the old Drive Time Spanish CD in, Nothing up my sleeve. All right. Okay. This little jewel right here, it's pretty light. It looks like it's made out of plastic. I wouldn't say cheap plastic, but it was not cheap by any, standards of anyone anywhere. This is the Flanagan Neurophone NF3, and this is the best one. They did make one after this, but it had some problems and they didn't like it, so they went back to the old standard, which is the Neurophone NF3, which I have right here. These things retail, believe it or not, for about $700. So it's not cheap. I paid a lot of money for this, and we're going to test it to see if it works. I'll forego the directions and everything like that. Here in a moment, I'm going to go off camera, and I'm going to put on these electrodes here. You see this like what they do ECGs with, and encephalocardiograms or whatever. Electricity goes, an electric potential goes through your skin, right? So there's several different ways you can put them, but I'm going to tape them to my face like this with the electrical tape. So of course, yes, it's going to look very weird. And I'm going to have them taped to my face. Then I'm going to plug this thing right there into this thing right here on the output. The input is going to be the Spanish programming. Let's check that right quick. See if the...
Hello. Hola. Welcome to Drive Time Spanish.
Okay, I think that's working. All right. So now, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm going to tape these electrodes to my face, and then we will continue with the program. You see I have some candles lit here for to kind of give a meditative atmosphere, and of course they have pictures of Jesus on them, and so it's just a little bit of extra insurance. Anyone who's been listening for very long knows that I'm not a Christian. However, I am pro-Christian in my orientation, so never hurts to have a picture of the big guy or a candle burning nearby. All right. All right, here we go. I've got this tape or black lines on my face, somewhat reminiscent of Lisa Left Eye Lopez, rest in peace. Or maybe that band Raven. You remember that band from the 80s, death metal band, speed metal band, something like that. So we determined that the Spanish lessons are coming through the DVD player and into the speaker. We are going to take them out of the speaker and reroute them to this, and then to the Dr. Patrick Flanagan Neurophone NF3. And we'll see. So you may be asking, well, what is that going to do? Okay, you're not going to hear anything. I'm not going to hear anything. Well, let me qualify that statement. I'm not going to hear anything with my ears. You see, Dr. Patrick Flanagan, after he invented this device and found out it worked, he actually didn't know what it did at first, and then after he found out what it did, he didn't know how it worked. And another scientist came along years later and discovered how it works. And this is how it works. This is an accelerated learning device, and it puts information directly into your brain. Now, the way you usually get information directly into your brain is through your sight or your hearing. And there is a group of mammals in the group, genus, species, whatever you want to call it, cetacean. They are the cetaceans, C-E-T-A-C-E-A-N, cetacean. The cetaceans are all of your whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Or should I say porpoisei? I'm not sure about that. And as you know from a lot of science fiction, and stuff like that, there's often people relate to dolphins somehow. There's tales back in the old days of sailors being stranded or being, maybe attacked by sharks or starving or something like that, and they're somehow saved by a dolphin. And dolphins seem to like humans, so there is a connection between whales and dolphins and porpoises and people, aside from the fact that we're all mammals. Mammals meaning the mother gives milk to the young through a breast, and that's what makes them mammals, because of the mammary glands. Y'all probably already know this, but I got in a fight in prison years ago over the argument of whether whales had tits. Obviously whales have tits, or they couldn't give the calves the milk. I don't know if it gets mixed together with seaweed or whatever, but anyway, yeah. So I got in a fight over that, and I look probably about like this, like I look now, after that. But I was right. Okay, I was right, and whales are mammals, and they do milk their young. Now, cetaceans and humans have other things in common, and that is what's loud?
They breathe air.
I can't breathe the air? Oh, they breathe air, yeah. Okay, thank you to my lovely assistant for mentioning that. Yeah, they breathe air. They're not fish, they breathe air. And that's what this one guy in prison, I hate to get back to this fight deal, but yeah, he was calling it a fish. I was like, it's not a fucking fish. A whale is not a fish, all right? Anyway, y'all know this. So the way that this thing works is it takes this information from these Spanish lessons. Well, let me say this first. Cetaceans and humans have something in common, and the scientific name for it is saccules. And you have these kind of below your ears, right back here, kind of, midway on your neck down here, and they're supposedly useless glands or organs, which there's obviously nothing useless in the human body. But they also know that they somehow help you keep your balance. So that's not useless. So I don't know, you get different scientific opinions. One says they're useless, other says they help us with our balance. But there's these little sacs, basically, of, I don't know, gel or something like that. I picture it as a bunch of little, salmon eggs or something like that right here below your ears. These are saccules. Now what they do in a human being may be somewhat of a mystery, but we know what they do in cetaceans, and this is how cetaceans use sonar. They use their little chirps and blips and stuff like that to communicate with one another. Or possibly there's speculation that they can use these sonar clicks that they make with their mouth. They hear it with the saccules, but they make it with their mouth to stun schools of fish, so then they can just go through and just eat them because they're all in a trance. Speaking of trance, this is somewhat reminiscent of mind control. Well, mind control is a big topic on my show, so most of y'all should already know that. So anyway, when they're doing their sonar and stuff, the whales and porpoises and dolphins, they don't hear it with their ears. I don't know if they have ears or not, but they hear it with these saccules. That's the way that they listen. What's going to happen with this Spanish programming is going to go through this thing, and then through these electrodes that are taped to my face in the place where I was told there's several places you can put them, and it's going to transmit this data. This audio signal is going to be transformed in this device and sent to me through my skin. So I will be hearing it not through my ears, but through my skin. But I won't be hearing it. Well, actually, my conscious mind won't be hearing it. You see, that's another interesting thing about this. It's going to be injected directly into my subconscious. So I could stay awake, I could play a game of tennis, I could do anything, and I would be downloading this information directly in a mechanical, direct way, to my subconscious, which is really where most of your actions and possibly thoughts and everything come from, is your subconscious, or what motivates you to do the things you do. They say comes more from your subconscious mind than your conscious mind, and also your subconscious mind is capable of taking in much more information much more rapidly than your conscious mind. And I guess that's the idea of this. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna check it one more time.
New way to use all of that time you spend behind the wheel to learn Spanish.
Okay, that's sounds like that's working. Now we're going to turn the speaker off. And oh yeah, we're going to unplug this deal right here. And we're going to plug this in right here. But y'all see this so you know there's no tricks up my sleeve. We're going to plug it into the in jack on the Neurophone. We're going to turn the Neurophone on. You see the red light? Now, and this is the first time I've done this. And now we're going to turn, I went ahead and turned the volume up all the way a little bit, and then just a little bit down, you know, maybe like you listen to it with headphones or something. Now we'll press this on the out. So there it is, and I hear nothing. So how do I know this isn't just a box with a couple of jacks on it? It's just, I got ripped off. Well, Dr. Patrick Flanagan is a very ethical person, and he's known worldwide for being a servant to humanity. And believe me, I did not pay $700 for a piece of crap. This thing works, but we're going to have to prove it, and we're going to have to find out. So I'm going to now ask my lovely assistant to turn off the camera, and I'm going to bring the hood over my eyes here and recline in this chair, and I will report to y'all here in just a moment. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do.